Welcome back to the world with Randall Williams. And today I want to talk about Drake and Partynextdoor's new album, Some Sexy Songs for You. And let's jump right in. I think it's cool. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's horrible or god awful. I just think it's cool. Like, there's nothing on here that I think, for me personally, that's going to bring me back to it. There's like some standout songs for sure, but there's nothing here that's like, oh, like this is crazy. Like this is crazy, Drake. And the reason that I say that is because I mean we all knew that this album was coming months ago. I don't think it was announced before the feud between Drake and Kendrick and the Great Rap War started. I don't think it came from that time, but it was announced, let's say, like 4 or 5 months ago. It's February, and they'd been working on it. It's clear that Drake was going to come back with some R&B tunes and some bops, and this is kind of like exactly what that is. There's some decent songs on here, what I would consider like horror raps. Like if you in the streets, if you outside, if you got multiple women on your phone, if you are a woman who has multiple men on their phone, then like these are tunes you might enjoy. I think that my biggest critique on this album would be that there are better Drake tunes than this. Like there are better Drake R&B songs. There are better Drake bops than these songs. And so when I say memorable, when I'm thinking about will I go back and listen to this again? I'll tell you my four standout songs are one second. My four standout songs are Greedy, Something About You, Die Trying, and Give Me a Hug. Die Trying goes crazy. That song is beautiful. Beautiful. I love I think it's a guitar. I love the chorus, the melodies, just it's a different vibe that I don't think we've ever heard from Drake. I don't know if that would necessarily be considered alternative, but I just that song I probably played that song 20 times. I think Greedy is a really, really good. I think it's the probably the best R&B song on there. Something About You is really good. And then of course you have Give Me a Hug. I don't want to jump right into the Kendrick and Drake thing because I mean there are some very clear moments where Drake kind of addresses this a little bit. But those four songs are the ones that I have. I think if I was to throw like a fifth one in there, looking at the track list, I like Small Town Fame. I like where's the other one that everyone keeps talking about? I think Nokia is decent. It's kind of it's all right. I don't know if that's one for me, but it's I think this album is just cool. Like there's if someone came out and said like, "Oh, this is trash," like this is horrible, then I think you kind of like blowing it out of proportion a little bit. What was trash was For All the Dogs. For All the Dogs is garbage. Like For All the Dogs is horrible. That's Drake's worst album to me. It's not even close. This is better than For All the Dogs. I don't think like in terms of ranking Drake's collaboration albums, this will probably be last. Like it's definitely not better than What a Time to Be Alive. It's not better than Her Loss. So this would be last. With that being said, like I said, I don't think it's bad, but if where I'm at in terms of music is like what brings me back to this? And excuse me. And there's nothing that makes me remember this. And so what was I expecting? Like I'll give you some examples of some really good Drake R&B songs that I really enjoy through the past. It's 2025, so we'll say over the past 5 years, because Drake drops a lot of music, and I think it'd be a little bit unfair to say he hasn't dropped any good music or anything like that. Um, I mean, I think Spin About You has some R&B. Hours in Silence, of course, has some in there. I think that's all from Her Loss. Then you go to Honestly Never Mind. I wasn't big on that album. I think my favorite song off there was Sticky. But Certified Lover Boy, um, let's see, Pipe Down, Yeba's Heartbreak. Um, there's another one. Oh, Get Along Better goes crazy. Like he has some really, really good R&B songs. And I mean, and we can go back farther too to like Scorpion when you have what is the Georgia Smith song? Um Jaded is really good. I think not Finesse, of course. Like Drake has made some really good songs. I think his best R&B song ever is off. if you're reading this, I think that's where it's on. Yeah, Jungle is his best R&B song ever. But point being, I've just heard better tunes than this, and I think it's come in different paces. Like he doesn't. Drake said in the Rap Radar interview some years ago that he always has to provide something for everybody. And I think that's kind of like his downfall on these albums is that every single album is a wide variety of tunes. There's nothing concise anymore. His last concise album was probably, well, I think Her Loss didn't have too many songs. But before then, his last solo concise album was probably nothing was the same. Honestly, never mind too. So I'm contradicting myself as I sit here. But in yeah, honestly, never mind. But I wouldn't consider that a rap album. So his last solo rap concise album was Nothing Was the Same, and all of these other albums have an extremely long runtime. Like they're they have a lot of songs. Like this has 21 songs. This For All the Dogs, including this too, had 29. Certified Lover Boy, I think was 23, 21. So like he loads these albums up, and I think that I do wish that at times like he did cut off some of the fat, but it's his way of doing art and or doing his art. But there's nothing that me personally outside of Die Trying and maybe Greedy, there's nothing on here that's like, oh, I gotta go play that again. And I haven't been outside to hear what this sounds like in a function or anything like that. And there's definitely songs that can be played in the function, but like, why play this when I could play old Drake? That would be my main takeaway. Now let's get to the thing that everybody is going to be talking about is like how he addressed the Great Rap War and his loss with Kendrick. He did it directly on "Give Me a Hug," and I think that well, even before then, he says on Celibacy, fuck, he's singing and he says, "Fuck, I guess it's up and it's stuck. We're not like them and they're not like us." Hearing him kind of sing about a beef in a subtle way was funny to me. There's a couple other lines on there, like subtle things, or he's trying to get people. I think it's on the Brian Steele song where he's talking about thugs trying to get him to calm down, and he says, "Nah, like I can't." But it's directly addressed on "Give Me a Hug," which is probably the best track on there. Says, yeah, Drake elimination, fake intimidation. Take a minute, take a breath, have a little bit of patience. Drizzy, you amazing. You the inspiration. You set the bar for the next generation. You Neo in the Matrix. These it's just Nemo in the ocean. Small fish making kids feel emotion. Using you for promotion. Truer words have never been spoken. Just want to see rip me on a t-shirt like I'm Hulk Hogan. That's hard. I appreciate the fans rocking with me. This is really just a small token. Really fucking with a visionary. Only reason I ain't got a girl and I ain't getting married because I'm really out here filling up the itinerary till I'm 6 feet in the cemetery. That's cute. Um, Bulletproof door so heavy, got me rolling round like a dictionary. Funny how it's only bitch niggas that are waiting on the boys' obituary because if I die, these niggas that become the sole beneficiary and what the fuck they gonna do with it had head of girls up at I think it's head of have girl maybe head of girls up at 29 on stage twerking with a dictionary. That is hilarious. That whole line about twerking with a dictionary is funny because like I think the notion between Kendrick and Drake fans, and as you can see, like I lean more Kendrick by far. I enjoy Kendrick's music more than I enjoy Drake's, but I still enjoy Drake's music too. Um, but the thing between Drake and Kendrick fans is like Kendrick fans are always saying that Drake fans are dumb, and Drake fans are always saying that Kendrick fans don't pull no women. Like that's the thing that has happened for a decade. Like I have been in so many Drake Kendrick debates for a very, very long time. And that's the thing that people say is like, where do you play Kendrick music? And Kendrick fans would be like, Drake has made the same song 10,000 times. And it just goes back and forth and back and forth. And excuse me, catching a cold a little bit. But having girls on stage twerking with a dictionary is funny. Then he says, guilt trips, not Turk trips when it's cold out here in February, because right now, shorty parachuting Molly like she flying for the military. This girl face so pretty, I can think about it. Like, Then he just goes on, and then he says, "1,000 niggas that are rapping murder shit and 10 niggas that I really do is savage. You the only checking on me when some shit, brother." Then he talks about um, Joe Budden again, Melissa Ford, you a legend from the six. Hate to see you with a dick sucker. Like, you kind of see him address this, or you do see him address this. I'll start by saying the beat on this is hard. I think that even later down the line, he says they be dropping shit, but we be dropping harder shit. Fuck a rap beef. I'm trying to get the party lit. Trying to get the party lit for the bitches. Like, I think that is funny because if you go back like 10 months ago or however many months ago in April, so like 8 months ago, it was drop, 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 drop. And there's that use me as the day have nothing to drop button. Like, and to hear him now say fuck a rap beef, I'm trying to get the party lit is hilarious. But I think that song is really good. Like that song is straight. I will say that like I did expect a little bit of more of aggression, but I think maybe it's just time for everybody to move on. And if this is the way that it continues, then I guess this is not how I'm used to Drake addressing different things. Like when he got into it with Pusha T and Survival came on, for Survival sound like some like it's not like he's just literally sitting in a villa with the shades on, like plotting. And you just see him kind of address everything. Even like I'm looking up the lyrics, like all the disorder, no dress, and the crown is broken in pieces, but there's more in my possession. Who do you really love? Well, that's sure to be in question. Um, he said, I've had real Philly try to write my ending, taking shots with the GOAT, talk about shots that we sending. I've had scuffles with bad boys, they wasn't pretending. I've had too many nights to mention. That's just the beginning. Like but his tone, his like, I wouldn't say it was like aggressiveness, but it's like a fierce tone. And here, it sound and this song "Give Me a Hug," he sounds a little bit more happy. And I mean, there's some people who are saying that like Drake is unbothered, which is a lie. Like, there's no way that you could argue that Drake is unbothered, even though he's out here touring and doing all these different things. Like the antics that he's been doing on his plot twist account, from posting Jill Smuller, who is Serena Williams' former agent, to posting Ebro, to taking shots at Budden. Like, he very clearly is still on the internet. He's still outside. Everybody wants him to take a break. That's not his nature. So he's just going to keep doing him. And we got to live with it. But there's no way you could sit here and be like, Drake's unbothered. He doesn't care, especially with a lawsuit. Like, there's no way you could say that. With all that being said, I think "Give Me a Hug" is great. I think "Give Me a Hug" is great. I think the line where he says, niggas want to see me on a t-shirt, like rip me like I'm Hulk Hogan, or whatever that line is hard because double entendre, rest in peace, and rip me. But again, like, I think that this Drake album is cool, but it doesn't give me anything to come back and be like, oh, like, this is crazy. I expected a little bit more. I expect more aggressiveness, or more like I'm really him still later down the line. And this album doesn't necessarily feel like that. And that's okay. Like, I'm not critiquing his album based on my expectations of things. This was going to be a soft R&B album to begin with. There's some places where he addresses the great rap war, and there are some places he don't. He get back to talking about the women, and that's fine. But he's talked about women in better music in the past. Like, that's my takeaway from this, is that if this is Drake's only R&B offering ever with Partynextdoor, it's all right. And I think Partynextdoor doesn't really get as much credit on here. I think his parts were smooth. I haven't spoken about him, but he was smooth on here. Smooth. I think that sometimes when you're an artist as big as Drake, it can be difficult to stand next to somebody like that if you don't have your own. Like, I don't think there was even enough of him on here. As I'm looking at the track list, like, there's a lot of Drake songs on here, and then there's some with the two of them. But Drake is sprinkled on here way more in terms of like the solo song. Party has a couple, but it doesn't necessarily. It feels like Drake featuring Partynextdoor album, not Partynextdoor and Drake, which is how it is. Like, that's not necessarily how it feels. I think him in 21 had a better balance. I think him in Future had a little bit of a better balance. So, hats off to Party Next Door. I think his last album was really good. And I hope he continues the momentum moving forward. But this album in general, as I've said, it's cool. It doesn't give me anything to come back to. I don't think that I just think it's okay. Great. I'll be playing Die Trying for a minute. And I think Greedy is really good. But if there was a sentence you could write about this album, I don't know what it would be. Like just one sentence, not no paragraph. How would you describe some sexy songs for you? Like leave a comment in the section because I have no idea how I would describe this other than okay Drake and Party Next Door R&B tunes. That's it. I'm sure that this will chart. Drake always charts really well. I'm sure that it'll go number one on the Billboard and maybe sell like 180K. And there might be a number one song on here. Great. We're used to like Drake putting up numbers. I don't think like the numbers conversation is really a part of this anymore outside of the expectations that people have for him to fall off now. Like there's some expectations that I think that people have of Drake that after this thing that he's just dead. No, like we're talking I don't take that Drake being a corpse is like his career is over. It's just that like we looking at you like what are you going to do? And he hadn't responded until now. And if this is a proof of life, then it's like a faint heartbeat, like it's soft. So that's what I got for you on the Drake and Party Next Door album. I think the last thing that I would say is that some of the rap beat stuff is getting played out. Like I'm tired of every single time, even as a Kendrick fan, as a big Kendrick fan, and as a Drake fan, like every single time we having a conversation about Kendrick, we talking about Drake. And every time we talking about Drake, we talking about Kendrick. And it's like, bro, it's been like 8-9 months now. Like, can we move on? And I don't know when or we'll move on, but it's just time. Like the great rap war is over. It's dead. Like after the Super Bowl performance, it's done. Like what do we have to talk about anymore? There's no songs coming where I think Drake is going to be attacking Kendrick, and I think that Kendrick will be attacking Drake. Like even on GNX, there are parts of GNX where Kendrick is definitely taking his victory lap and being like, turn his TV off and I put it, what do you say? Like on Hey Now, I put a square on his back like I'm Jack Dorsey. And the last one, figure he was Magneto, play God, you're going to get what you asked for. Like there are parts of this that, yeah, will linger on the same way that Pusha T and Drake did, the same way that Meek Mill and Drake did, and so many more rap battles that have existed in the past. But every single time that these guys drop, we don't need to go and, oh, this is like we need to taking shots at one another. It's done. It's done. Enjoy the tunes, enjoy the music. If they start sparking shit again, then yeah, it's worth dissecting. And I do think that this music is still worth dissecting. But this ain't what it was a year ago. So why are some people acting like it? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe. Some sexy songs for you is all right. That's all I got for you all today. What did you think of the album? Does this meet your expectations? Does it fall short of your expectations? Let me know. And that's all I got for you all today. This is The World with Randall Williams. I appreciate you all and see you all next time.